Hello, the purpose of this demonstration is to show you a report from AlertSIte and to give you some ideas of what you can do with that report. So this is an email that I received from AlertSIte, and this is a link to the detailed report. The report is based on a 24-hour period, and it's based on a specific script. So a script is one where you can run several transactions or several steps. And what we're doing is we're measuring the time that it took a user, a simulated user, to do those steps. So in this example, we have we're playing back from Sydney, Zurich, New York, and a couple other locations. And it's the online check-in transaction. Now from here you can see the relative response times from all of the different locations. We can change that over to a bar chart if we want to. And here you can see any big variations throughout the day from each of these different locations. Followed by some summary information. So here we have the average. Now this is the average of all of the transactions run over the last 24 hours. This is an average of the DNS time, the connect time, the redirect time. And then we'll also give you the min, the max, and the standard deviations of that transaction for the last 24 hours. So this is really good summary information. Now what you can see is the total transaction time. Typically, so 55% of the time we're between 8 and 15 seconds. And then sometimes we had a couple that were over 30 seconds. And then you had some that were in the 6 to 8 second range. So there are some pretty big outliers that are pretty interesting here that we'll want to look at. Now if I scroll down more, what you can see is that we'll have a detailed record of each of the individual executions. So here's Sydney, Australia at 1:07. Here's London and Switzerland at 4:05. And next to each of these groups, you can either drill down here, and as I said, this is a sequence of events. So this is a user going through 4 different pages. And what you can do is you can open up each of these different pages to get information on their execution, on all the different events that happen within the pages. Or what you can do if you want kind of uber detail, you want to drill down on that page itself, I can drill down here and look at the transaction detail. Now the transaction detail will give you each step broken down just like we saw before when we drilled in, but this is for that one execution. So this is for the online check-in running from Sydney, Australia, and then we have the times that they are running at. So this is 7 seconds after midnight on 9/12. What we can do is we can drill down on this action, and this will take us to what we call a waterfall view. So when you click in a website, the page is going to bring back the page object itself, but there's also all these corresponding objects. So these objects might come from British Airways, but also notice up here that we have a couple that are being served from different locations. So besides British Airways, there's this replay controller. There's different information in here. Here's something from DoubleClick. So this also shows you all of the third-party elements that are being served up in order to render that page in the client's browser. Now as we go down further, you can see this is a different way to look at this same data. So instead of seeing a waterfall where we show you, okay, this is when the page started to load, and this is when the page finished loading, when the user was actually able to interact with the page, we show you how all those hits loaded over time. Now what we also show you in the bottom, as I said, this is just a table representation of it with all the additional details. But what I can do is if I'm interested, like if there was a problem with this JavaScript, I can click on the JavaScript and it's going to show me the JavaScript. I got the code right there. Also, if I go back and I click, instead of on the JavaScript itself, maybe I want to click on an image, or I want to see what something is in this page. So what you can do is you can pick any of these and actually drill down on them, and they'll take you to that page. So this is a real-time view of that page that was trying to render. Okay, so that's some of the detail that you can get on those reports, from these reports. Let's go back and look at the main report again and do another drill down. So here we can drill down on event detail, and we'll get another layer, another layer of information as to what's going on. We can also get a snapshot here, which we'll take a look at a little bit sooner. But what's really good about these reports is you can just browse them. Like the green stuff, it's cool to look at, but it's really not, the big things. You're looking for problems. So here's a problem, for example, we had back. So we can drill and we can open this. We can either look at my detail view, and I can pop it open on my detail view like I did before. And we can get an idea here that the action 1 played back okay, but then it got stuck on the second page. Now what I can do is I can look that the third page never happened, because what happened here is it had a problem and it timed out. So what we can do instead, we can look at the picture and see if there's some reason why we timed out on the second page. Now if I view the screen, maybe there's a missing link here that we're supposed to click that we don't have yet. It gives you some more information by looking at the screen replay. Also, there's a bunch of information about the source and the header, so we capture additional details when there are errors like this. So it's a really good way to go through the report and just see what's wrong, what happened, and if it's happening frequently, you can get a good idea of that. And that's about it. So this is one of the transactions that we would just use as an example. Thank you for attending.